Hey guys, it's Mysopods and more with me. I hope everything is going well with you and you're taking care of yourselves and the ones that you love. It's about 8 a.m. and I've been up since about 4 with a lot on my mind. And so I'm going to come and do a confessional of sorts, and I don't even know if I'm going to post this right now or just delete it, because I talk a lot about externalizing, getting things out, and at the end of this, if that need has been fulfilled, I may not have the desire to post it, and I may. But as you can see, I don't have any script, so again, I have no idea. I know how I want to start this, but I don't know where this is going to end. But I want to, sorry about that. I'm going to try to start being more proactive so I can at least edit those out. But I want to talk about something that has just been weighing in the back of my head a lot lately. And that is that I have a massive, I don't know if fear but complex may seem a better word, about rejection. And again, for a little bit of context, I want to talk more in the immediate, but also, being that it is so early, I have to get my daughters in a little bit, so I don't have all day to do this, so that gives me a little bit of motivation to keep this on track. But it's a complex, and there's things just simply going back to the fact that I've never broken up with a girlfriend, and going back to my life the way my life was in my formative years, it struggled around a lot, rejection by a lot of my family. And in the more immediate sense, I don't even remember, but my divorce now was about 7 years ago, and that was arguably in the most recent past where that massive wound started to open up. And the reason is, this is going to be oversimplified, because I don't mean it as if I never did anything wrong, I couldn't have done better, and everything is my ex's fault. But I did not want to get divorced. She did. While my energy and mental energy and strength and all of my effort was going into trying to save the marriage, see what we could do, all of her energy was pulling and moving in the exact opposite direction. So, and that was, I want to be clear before I talk about this next thing. I don't like pity. I don't say this so anyone feels sorry for me. I do it so you may understand. That's it. Just that is it. Maybe, hopefully you can, again, not say, I don't want to be enabled when I'm in bad moods, but at least if you understand why, you can address something differently. But for a little bit of context, so what I was going on about was my mother died of lung cancer, and all of that was right in the middle of my divorce. So much so that my ex left me on what I again, dates are so weird, or the years, because I don't think back concretely very often because it hurts. But so if I'm correct, she left me the day after Christmas 2015, and my mom passed away January 30th, 2016. So a lot of that was happening at the same time. And the beaver just went by, which I think is the beaver. Could be a muskrat. Focus. So when I talk about rejection, what I specifically mean is there is not anything I would not have done to make my marriage work. Anything that you could, and I tried so many things. And when I talk about rejection is, as a man, as a husband, as someone who wants to think love is real, part of that should be that love and that commitment has some weight. And what I realized is it didn't. There was nothing I could have done. And what's worse is when people say you take what happened and you learn from it. And what I learned from it is, and this is from my ex's mouth, not my ego, that it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing you could have done. You did everything. It's me being her. Which again, the rejection there is that I was only a passenger in this relationship. And I had no real input into how you felt. How you felt was separate from me. And anything I wanted, again, anything I could have done would have been done. So there's that facet of rejection. The facet that, again, if I'm willing to give anything and everything of myself and that's not enough, there's that feeling that you're worthless. Because I could not even influence someone who said vows of love and forever and all that, and in sickness and in health, for better or poor, blah blah blah. And now, more recently, my dad and I have a very estranged relationship, and when I say things about him now, I'm going to say them very flippantly and callously and oversimplified to make him sound, not to make him, but it will make him sound somewhat monstrous. And the truth is that he was, and the truth is that he still has some of those tendencies, but the truth is that I've forgiven him. And I talk a lot about understanding. I don't have to agree with something someone does to understand it, and I don't have to understand it only to enable them or say it's acceptable. You can understand someone and say, okay, I don't agree with what you did, but I understand why you did it. And that's the point I'm at with my father. His life was not easy, but he's now dying of cancer. He has not seen his grandchildren in I don't know how long. I don't think he's even seen my youngest, aside from maybe at if there was like a Thanksgiving thing and he happened to be there with them. But recently I have been just trying to hope and reach out that in the manner of, if I, again, oversimplification, basically, and I'm, I want you to see your grandkids. And with that, you'd probably have to see me. And this is where I'm oversimplifying, but it's this harsh. It degraded to him ultimately saying, Steve, the reason I didn't message you all of these years, the reason I never tried to see you even though you're only 3 miles away, the reason I blocked you, the reason I never responded, the reason I never came to any of your kids' parties, the reason I never came to any Christmas things when I got all of those messages, because I didn't want to, I don't want to. But I say, there's some things I understand. What I don't understand and what makes me upset about it, and where I say I feel the ultimate rejection, is he's blaming it on me, in that he's phrasing his position as such. Steve, you and I can't be around each other because when we're around each other, we cause too much pain towards one another. We can't, and there's that underlying hurt we can't see past. And there's no we in that equation. It's him. He cannot look past those things. I don't care. I spent a lot of time reiterating to my father via text message at that point, I don't want to see you for anything negative. All I want to do is let you see my grandkids, talk about hockey, maybe baseball, talk about your fishing boat, how that's been, how everything at home with the pond, with your wife's pond has been, all things that I don't know because I only hear about these things tangentially from other people. Or when I ask specifically, hey, have you talked to my dad? How's everything been? Because he won't talk to me. So it's just not easy. You know, I laugh about Sun Tzu and Art of War and how it's not a book about war, it's a book of life. And just how concepts that seem so far apart, when you boil them down, can be similar, tangentially or parallel. Wally and I, in videos, we've been talking a lot about putting content out there. You risk rejection, failure, negative feedback, all of these things. And anytime you put anytime you put a little bit of yourself into something, the rejection is those negatives are compounded. And when you put your all into things and get rejected, it's that much more compounded. And again, I put everything into those two things. It spent a lot of time getting to and I don't mean a point it's like a conscious choice, like, you know what, I can do it today. But it took me a long time to get to the position where I could forgive my dad, where I could understand my dad and how he is, and know what he went through to get to who he is today, and the struggles he had to not become someone worse than he could have been. Again, to have that rejection is just, it's not easy. And then, you know, there are times I get upset or angry at him, which again I say are rational, because you can be angry, you can feel angry and not act on anger. And the reason I say I get angry at that specific is I love my kids. It's torture for me to be away from my kids. Like I said, my kids are coming back today and I haven't seen them in almost 2 weeks. That's torture for me. I mentioned I didn't want a divorce. I never had a plan in my life to only be able to see my kids half of their lives. It's torture. It's the worst thing that that is another form of rejection that I don't talk about very often. But just, again, I never wanted that, and it's not easy. It's not good. It's not ideal. It's torture for me. And it puts my kids in a position where the best life that my kids lead, they're going to see their parents half of the time only. But what I was getting at is, I don't understand how you could not want to see your kids and grandkids knowing you're dying, but most importantly, if my kids did not want to see me right now, there's no rational reason for it. It would be something like, Dad doesn't let us play as much video games as Mom does, or something like that. But he beat my mom, and I should not be the one feeling rejected over a lack of forgiveness over that. But it is, and I'm okay with that, because again, it's not about feelings, you know. It's very tough to navigate. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about something that is, again, part and parcel with this and constant. I'm very candid. I'm not judgmental. But I cannot be the person that I am, because not of my fear of rejection, because I will be rejected. And that's evidenced by the fact that the more and more over the past, going back to my divorce, my mom passing, and all that snowballing to today, the fact that I don't have anybody. Because the more I open up to people about my vulnerabilities, when I need things, when I'm overwhelmed, people leave. When I open up to people about anything like politics, society, how I raise my kids, history, in a Discord server, in a comment section, in a live stream, or in a video, there are some of you who will you will not want to be interested in associating with me. And it's not anything crazy. It's just that I'm so open and candid about it. And very often, it's starting to... I don't have a solace. I don't have a refuge. And this is where, again, it's starting to frustrate me, because I used to use Facebook as a reason, as a way to vent. Because on my Facebook, not as of this moment, but for all intents and purposes, aside from this year, going back several years now, my Facebook page consists of 3 people who have all passed away. So nobody sees what I post on. You'll hear me say it face page occasionally, so sorry about that. But you'll hear me, well, I post on face page about how I feel. The way I think about something that's happening today. What I think about this political issue. And the reason I started to do that is because Facebook, the Facebook feed is the only place I could go to where I could say something and say, well, at least I know Facebook's not going to go anywhere as long as I don't violate Facebook's terms and policies of service and all that other junk. And I'm losing that now that I have people wanting to connect with me, because I know the moment they start seeing things that have been my inner thoughts, again, there are a lot of reasons not to like me. On one of my shirts, my Freedom First, Safety Second shirt, on the back of it, where most people don't see, it says incredibly unlikable. There are a lot of reasons not to like me. I'm abrasive. I'm opinionated. I talk in excess. I'm exhaustive. People often say things like, you don't think about things like normal people do. Why can't you answer questions like a normal person does? Why you talk about things in ways people are not trying to talk about them. You talk about things all of these things. I'm very... I don't know how it comes off so negative, but if I don't understand something you say or do, I just ask about it. But people take that the wrong way as me literally questioning them, or maybe delegitimizing what they say because I don't understand it. Now, where I know my opinions, when I ask people theirs, it's not to be argumentative. It's very often because I literally don't understand your opinion and want to know. So if someone were to say, to me, Steve-O, I don't think you should be able to have that gun on you to protect your kids, I would want to know why. Like, what's your method? Because, again, if you think guns are dangerous, then don't have one. Because I think smoking is dangerous. And drinking is dangerous. This may sound crazy. Lots of people die from those things every year. I don't think you should not be able to do it. I think you should be responsible with how you drink and you smoke and how you eat. Things like that. I don't think it should be illegal for you not to eat how I do. I don't think it should be illegal for you not to go on the amount of walks and not to come outside of the amount of days and hours I do. It should be your choice. Because my pistol has not hurt anyone. Again, it's my choice. It should be choices. When we start getting into those things, again, I'm not disagreeing with someone's opinion that guns are dangerous. I'm disagreeing with their point, the follow-up, which is, so you, Steve, should not be able to have one. All of these things are I live in constant fear of rejection, and it's very frustrating to me because if someone approached me initially without any contact about the opposite opinion, meaning, I would not talk to Steve-O if he's on this side of the line, and now that I know he is, I'm not talking to him. But if that person approached me from this side of the line, as long as they're not harming anybody, and they can again explain their position, and I'll talk about that in a minute, then I'm fine with it. And what I mean by explain your position is, let's say you say you're a charitable person. I don't know why, or let's stick to that. And my next question may be, okay, so what do you do that's charitable? What charities do you help out? Where do you donate? If you can't answer that question, don't be offended at me. Maybe you're not as charitable as you think, but again, that's why my innocent questions can be either misconstrued, or when those questions are asked and they have to think of them, those gears start to misfire and they say, oh wow, maybe I'm not. And the nail that sticks out gets hammered down, so to speak. I say that a lot, and what I mean by that is they will take it out on me when they come to those moments where they're confused, annoyed, ashamed because they're getting called out. They're confused because they think something and it's not, and I'm often the brunt end of that confusion. But it's very frustrating. I don't know how to navigate a lot of these issues because, when people ask me or send an invite to be on my friend list, I have to give them this whole entire rundown about, you may think it's weird, you're going to think differently of me. There's things on there that people don't see because of the way I use my Facebook and all of that. And I don't know, like I said, it would just be, I literally cannot imagine a life where I could post what I felt on Facebook, go to the pool and talk to the neighbors about what I wanted to talk about, go to a family function and talk about the things I wanted to talk about, or when people say, what have you been doing, answer it completely, not just answer the things that I know these people are really asking to hear about. As an autist, I noticed it's a bad combination for me personally. I'll try to end it around here. That I'm so hung up on language because, language is very important to me. And not so much to, I don't know if it's, I believe it's a combination of it being not that it's not so much important to other people, and I don't know if it's overly important to me so much as once you open Pandora's box, there's no putting stuff back in. And I'm very, my old roommate told me, Steve, when you get mad or angry, you talk slower and use bigger words. But I'm going to give a specific example. In the middle of my divorce, when this is before my mom had passed, I guess friend at the time came up to me and just said, basically, we noticed you're not doing anything. You're just kind of staying around the house. And I'm like, yeah, my mom's dying and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep the house. I'm going through a divorce and it's hard. And we talked a bit, and again, oversimplifying, it got to the point where she's like, well, what can we do? And I was like, again, I hope, and I don't know if this will make sense to anybody, but I don't particularly care, because this is still the way my brain works. And I say a lot, you view the world through the lens of your own biases, and you don't know what you don't know. This is the way my brain works, and thinking outside of that is something I need to consciously do in the moment. So think about it through that lens, because again, the way I listen to language is different from the way most people do. She said, what can we do to help you? And I said, well, what do you mean help me specifically? Like, she says, get you out of the house more. Come hang out with us. When we go out, when we go to the bar, when we go to Boozy's, which is one of the places here, or when we go to Wise Guys, you know, like, come out like you used to and hang out. And I said, because it took me a minute, I thought, and I said, and again, I was happy in the moment. I was like, oh my goodness. I took the time to think, and I consciously came up with this answer. And to me, it's so simple. But that doesn't mean it's simple to anybody else, which is sadly what I realized too late. What I said was, if you being them, if you want me to go to the bar or come hang out with you, don't ask me, Steve, do you want to come out and meet us at Boozy's? Because no, I'm depressed, I'm miserable, I don't want to. I want to just stay here and not do anything. My girls are at my ex's. No, I literally do not want to go to the bar. I want, in fact, more so, this is where I say language is important. I want to, in this moment, not go to a bar. I want to actively do something other than go to a bar. I want to not be at a bar. My desire is to not be in a bar right now. My desire is to be in my home. Hiding, again, at the time like I was. But going to the bar and drinking was not the answer. Which is not why I was making the decision. But my point is, what I said was, what would really get through to me right now is if you guys, any of you guys just said, hey Steve, we're going to Boozy's and we want you to go. Will you come up and meet us? Again, not do you want to, because no, I will do, and this is where I say I will suffer and do things I don't want to, and I think it's a universal thing for the people you love. And the more you love someone, the more you will do things you don't want to for them, because you love them. You're willing to do those things. So yeah, I would go and hang out with them, and I would probably have a good time. I didn't want to though, but I would do that for my friends, and I would do it if they phrase it that way, because that's the way my brain works. Oh, they want to see me. They haven't seen me in a while. I understand how that is, because when I don't see someone, I miss them. So I understand how that works. So yeah, you know, and that was so logically, I'm just sitting around my house not doing anything. So sure, I can go. But do I want to? No. I am, again, I feel I was at a stage where I was so low. I felt like a black hole. Like all I could do was bring people down. And the reason was, even now, I don't have people who will listen to me. If I started to talk about the divorce, or if I started to talk about my ex leaving me, or the problems with my kids, or my health, or having to drop out of school, and all of this. I'm going to wrap it up. I still don't know if I'm going to post this, because I'm going to go and start to edit this, and as I'm editing it, if it feels too pathetic, and I mean pathetic and missing the point, because again, I'm trying to externalize. But do me a favor, if you made it this far in the video, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, I'll wrap it up there. But I think I had a point I wanted to touch back on. Oh, it's just that, like I said, it was that cesspool of negativity. And I literally did not want to do anything. It was so bad. And I could go, like I say, it's hard for me. I don't know if you can notice, as I think back, I start to hit these other things that happen. And it's like, oh my God. Which is, again, like why I do not I don't like thinking back to that time, but at the same time, I have not talked with anybody in length about everything that has been going on. And I understand the importance of venting and externalizing and all of that, decompressing, and I haven't yet. And that's been going on 7 and 8 years now. That these things have just been steamrolling, and I am desperate to talk about all of it. But like I say, I don't. The hard part is hearing people say they are willing to listen and willing to talk, and when I do, again, opening up those fresh wounds again, they get to the point they realize it's too much. And I don't begrudge them that. I just wish they would understand, because again, I try to explain that up front, that it's going to be a lot, that we probably shouldn't talk about it because most people don't want to hear it, don't understand it. It becomes too complex, and it's 10 issues ultimately being into one. And I say a lot of things are like a gemstone. Gems have different facets. So my problem is not one thing, it's different. It's this, and there are different facets to it. People don't want to hear that. It's too much for people. And that, I understand it. I wish there was one person who could or would, but yeah, I haven't found that person yet. And that's what I don't like, to just rip all those things open again. Like now, thinking about those other things ultimately for no real reason. This is a good reason, and I'm getting to decompress, and it's kind of linked tangentially to something else, but I don't like to just revisit these things for no reason. It hurts too much. So, but I think the way you get to the point where you can talk about things and they don't hurt anymore is by talking about them. Again, it's a big, I don't know if it's a paradoxical situation at this point, but it's pretty close. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up. The video's coming up on 35 minutes, and I'm sure I'm going to edit hopefully a lot of that out, but I think my next vlog like this is going to be about me self-identifying and self-classifying myself as a confrontationalist. So again, if you did make it this far, bug landed on my camera thing. Let me know if you're interested in the video of me on my concept and theory of confrontationalist and confrontationalism. So take care of yourselves, take care of the ones you love. I'm going to try to get this video up today, but I have the girls and some stuff I want to do around the house, but I think I could take the time and do that. I don't take much time for myself like this, so I want to indulge in it a little bit. I'm not going to have that opportunity in a few more hours for the next 2 weeks, because again, they're out of school, it's summer vacation, the weather's amazing. I'm not the parent who keeps kids inside the house on devices all day, so we're going to be out, going to the pool, hanging out and that stuff, so I'm going to be exhausted, and in an amazing way. Hopefully I make it, and if not, it was worth it. So take care of yourselves. Apparently they're saying, yep. Take care of yourselves, take care of the ones you love. Till the next one, go easy. Yep, they're right. See you then.